As much as I bemoan the fact that I hate every time Jed Hoyer talks because I feel like he's either lying or gaming me, I love when Craig Counsell gets in front of the camera. I feel like Craig Counsell is a straight shooter, and he did so today in interviews. And of course, we got more trade and free agent signing rumors that the Chicago Cubs are interested in. It's day 2 of the winter meetings. Let's talk about it. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. It's your host, Mike Jones. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Hey, do me a favor. If you're catching this video for the first time, this is your first time visiting this channel, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're a repeat offender and you love watching the content that I make here on Chicago Cubs Central, do me a favor and hit that like button. Also, hit that share button and share with all the rest of you Cub fans so that way they don't miss out on any of the great content we got either. So, guys, Craig Counsell today met with the media, talked with the media. He did stuff for Marquee. He did stuff for MLB Network. He did stuff, just like I said, just all around, just talking about the Chicago Cubs, talking about their season in 2025, giving clarity on his outlook on how he felt the Chicago Cubs did in 2025, as well as what they need to do to be better for 2026, the additions that they will plan to add. He also gave an outlook on the outset of the roster right now as it currently stands. He was very clear in a lot of things, and I like that because, again, like I said in the beginning, I hate when Jed Hoyer gives these interviews because I feel like he's gaming me the whole entire time. The whole entire game, the whole entire interview with Jed Hoyer is nothing more than a poker game. And I love playing some poker. Trust me, Mike Jones loves him some poker. But I hate when I'm sitting here and I'm trying to read Jed Hoyer's poker face and trying to see if he's being honest about how he feels or if he's gaming you. So when it comes to Craig Counsell, I love when Craig Counsell sits down with the media because he gives honest assessments of the players, and he also gives honest assessments of what the team needs to do to be better. Now, Craig Counsell has been open and honest. It's hard in this league to win 95 games. He said that he reiterated that again in today's meetings. It's hard to win 95 games in this league. He also said that the goal still should be for the Chicago Cubs to win the division. He ain't backing down off of that. And with the Pirates missing out on Kyle Schwarber, with the Cardinals going into full rebuild, and with the Brewers looking to potentially sell Freddie Peralta, I mean, hey Cubs, just saying, now might be the time to put your feet to the pedal to the metal and put your foot on the gas and see exactly what you have here, because it seems these other teams are regressing. Cincinnati, I know as butthurt as some Cub fans are about Kyle Schwarber going back to Philadelphia, I know Cincinnati fans just knew they were going to have Kyle Schwarber in Cincy. They just knew he was going to be in Cincy, which, oh yeah, by the way, in case you didn't know, which I'm sure all of you know, Kyle Schwarber is officially going back to the Phillies on a 5-year, $100 million deal. Hey, listen, man, he found a home in Philly. He'll finish out his career there. Kudos to Kyle. I hope they can win a World Series there in Philly at some point. They're going to probably have to get out of the Bryce Harper business in order to do so. But, I mean, again, like I said, kudos to him. Happy for him. He found a home. He found a place where he belongs, and he's happy there. And Philly loves him, and he apparently loves Philly too. So, like I said, kudos to them for that. But back to this interview with Jed Hoyer. Oh, also, Cub fans, I'm sorry for all of you that have been commenting saying that Kyle Schwarber should be a Chicago Cub. Please put in the comments how you feel about Kyle Schwarber staying in Philly, probably going to retire in Philly now. He might come and sign a one-day contract with the Cubs, especially if he don't end up winning the World Series or MVP over in Philadelphia. He might come back to Chicago and sign a one-day and finish his career in Chicago, but I highly doubt we see him in a Chicago Cubs uniform ever again. Craig Counsell had some interesting topics, some things that he talked about in this episode. And the first being Shota Imanaga. The quote from Shota Imanaga, the one that stuck out to everybody, is, "I'm really excited about Shota. I think he's in a really good place. I think Shota's going to take his lessons from last year and be better." He also said that sometimes you have to go through the hard, rough parts of the season to learn and be better. And guys, Shota Imanaga, make no mistake about it, he went through some tough damn times in 2025. Shota Imanaga struggled. Another thing that Craig mentioned was he just felt like Shota Imanaga, he got injured and he never got back on track after his injury, which also could be very accurate. So to mention that and to bring that up, just let you know that this club does expect big, huge things out of Shota Imanaga. I think everybody thought that the Cubs looked at Shota Imanaga as a consolation prize, or, the rumors came out that the Chicago Cubs did not expect Shota Imanaga to accept that offer. So they were pretty shocked when he did. So a lot of people think that, or they just want to cast Shota Imanaga to the side because he had a rough end of 2025. But from every indication, and again, when it's Jed talking, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I take it with a grain of salt. But when Craig starts saying stuff like this, that lets me know they really do still believe in Shota Imanaga, and they do believe that Shota Imanaga can make a rehab and come back and be as dominant as he was in 2024. Shota Imanaga has a lot of ammunition now to get better because he has been written off primarily by everybody, including this podcaster. I'm not even gonna come on here and front with y'all. We family, we talk. I have written Shota Imanaga off. I put him as a 4th or 5th place starter on this team, which he still might be that to start the season. But Shota apparently is coming to prove something. He apparently is coming to prove something this season, which to that I say good on him. Good on him. I hope he does come and he proves something this season because Chicago Cubs need him to prove something this season. So we'll see from there. Craig Counsell also mentioned Matt Shaw. Again, this is the second personnel, Cubs personnel. First, it was the vice president, and now it is the Chicago Cubs manager, Craig Counsell. He was asked about Matt Shaw. Now, yesterday, we really all interpreted what Jed was saying as a way to make Alex Bregman feel like, well, I need to sign with the Chicago Cubs because they don't necessarily want me or they don't need me, but they'll take me if they'll have me. So I don't know. Mind games, Jedi mind tricks is what a lot of people were calling that. In my eyes, I think Jed truly believes that Matt Shaw is the future at third base, along with my good buddy Steven, who believes that Matt Shaw is third base. If you guys ever read his comments, if you want to know what he thinks about Matt Shaw, you got to do is read the comments section. And every single episode, he's telling me how Matt Shaw basically can walk on water. Just kidding with you, Steven. But he does tell me how great Matt Shaw is going to be and how we ought to believe in him. And again, like I've said before, Matt Shaw very well could end up being the bee's knees. The problem is you're running two different timetables here. You have young players that are growing but don't necessarily have that time to grow because you also have players that are ready to contend now. And you have enough to contend now. So you almost run the risk of ruining your young players by putting so much pressure on them to win now. That's why I'm okay with signing Alex Bregman. That's why I'm okay with going out and getting somebody else, another big bat, so that you're not necessarily dependent on these young guys. Now, Craig Counsell did give comments about Moises Ballesteros, about Owen Casey, and how he thought that both of them played great. It was especially Moises. He really commented on how Moises performed in September and how he really, really, really brought an edge to the Chicago Cubs with the way that he was swinging the bat. And to his credit, again, he also mentioned Owen Casey. He also said that he was kind of sad Owen missed September due to injury. He was out most of it, but he was really impressed with what the young guys had to say and what they had to do as far as getting chances. He also mentioned that when you have young talent like that, it's important to get them at bats. The same thing my good buddy Steven always says. It's important to get the young guys ABs. My problem is I don't like having to depend on these young guys. I have maybe some type of PTSD from depending on young guys before or believing in young guys before, maybe them not necessarily pulling through. However, the Chicago Cubs got a lot of young talent on here, guys, a lot of young green talent. And you have to ask yourself, can this talent perform on the major league level? Now, push come to shove, let's say the Chicago Cubs strike out on everybody and all you end up getting is pitching. And you do end up having to roll with Moises Ballesteros at DH, Owen Casey DHing, Seiya Suzuki playing right field and DHing, and this is your roster for this season. I mean, am I confident we can win the division with that? No. Am I confident we could probably still nab a wild card spot? Probably so, especially if we do end up going to get some type of great starting pitching. If all of our money goes to starting pitching into a bullpen that can hold teams, then I mean, that puts us in a better shape than any to be able to do what we have to do. So, Craig Counsell's comments on Matt Shaw, he says he's just getting better defensively. He's going to be one of the better third basemen. Matt's going to be an important part of the 2026 Chicago Cubs team. So, again, like I said, it does look like and seem like, even though there's all this talk about Alex Bregman and there's all this talk about what he's going to be and how he can be a part of the Chicago Cubs team, Counsell confirmed a couple of things. He confirmed that that Matt Shaw is still a big, huge part of this Chicago Cubs team. The other part, and it was really, if you watch the interview and you look at what he was saying, he didn't necessarily guarantee he was going to be playing third base either. See, Craig is very calculated in how he answers things. He also mentioned the fact that the Chicago, and he mentioned this multiple times, the Chicago Cubs got very lucky health-wise in 2025. That just doesn't happen where you have Nico and Dansby pretty much able to play every single game. This was kind of him cluing us in that Matt Shaw, we could absolutely see Matt Shaw playing second base. We absolutely could see Nico playing shortstop. We absolutely could see somebody like an Alex Bregman playing third base or DHing. We can, he mentioned that guys that can play multiple positions are very, very, very useful to this team, are going to be very, very useful to the growth of this team. And Matt Shaw can play second base. He can play third base. So if you get somebody like an Alex Bregman, I mean, presently constructed, how this team is looking right now, Matt Shaw is your third baseman. If you sign somebody like Alex Bregman, there's two options. You can make Matt Shaw expendable to go get some type of pitching like a Tyreek Skubal, or you can turn around and have him platoon at second and third, giving guys days off depending on who you have and where you have them. It just kind of all depends on what the Chicago Cubs want to do. And again, like I said, there are so many options here. One thing that I liked in this interview, Counsell was very, very adamant. Michael Busch has earned more opportunities in 2026 against lefties. No more of this Michael Busch having to, sit out against lefties and only be able to play when it's a righty pitcher up there. He's earned the opportunity to be able to bat against lefties. And kudos for Craig for acknowledging that, for answering that. And I'm excited to see what Michael Busch can do against righties. Against lefties this coming season. And last but not least, we were finally given some clarity on Justin Steele. So it does look like Justin Steele is not going to be ready opening day, which is exactly what I told you guys. But it also does lend to the fact that he said that it'll be probably sometime once the first half of the season is over, you'll probably see Justin Steele, which is what I always expected, either right at the tail end of the first half of the season or beginning of second half of the season, we'll see Justin Steele. But again, like I told you guys, even with Justin Steele coming back, that does not stop the Chicago Cubs from wanting to go out there and get two pitchers. Craig Counsell has echoed the same thing that Jed Hoyer has echoed. They're in sync with this. You can't have too much pitching. You can't. You just can't have too much pitching in this league. And with how everything is going, they want to spend money on pitching. So the Chicago Cubs are going to get creative on how they do this and how they make this happen. So I'm very curious to see what the Chicago Cubs choose to do and how they choose to make this work. So Michael Busch, like I said, is going to be a part of every day playing baseball for the Chicago Cubs. Is going to be in that lineup. Another note, Scott Boras gave a lot of credit to Jed Hoyer and his staff. He says they're all involved. They're very thorough. Really, that's the first time that we've heard Scott Boras really give them credit. So, and Scott Boras is the agent of Alex Bregman. He also is the agent of Amai. He also is the agent of Cody Bellinger. He is the agent of these guys. So, again, he is somebody that is working with the Chicago Cubs. And then last but not least, the Chicago Cubs apparently held a Zoom meeting a few weeks ago with Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman not only met with the Cubs, he met with a few other teams also. So Alex Bregman absolutely is on the Chicago Cubs radar. And I told you guys, where there's smoke, there's fire. So listen, get excited, man. I know everybody wants to be down on the Chicago Cubs. They don't expect them to come up with nothing. And I'll tell you this, even if the Chicago Cubs don't sign any of these guys, I still think the Chicago Cubs have enough with a return to Justin Steele to be a fighting team this season. Now, win the division, that remains to be seen. But I do think that they can still nab a wild card spot. But I expect the Chicago Cubs to add multiple pieces. And, I mean, like I said, they could get very active in the trade market. Listen, there are teams listening on these trades. Mackenzie Gore, Tarek Skubal, Mitch Keller, guys like that. There are teams that are listening on starting pitching. So do not be shocked when you see the Chicago Cubs in on this. And the longer these winter meetings go, the more you may see the Cubs turn from free agency to trades to bolster their roster. So these are what we're hearing. This is what we're seeing. But I need to know from you guys, your comments below. How do you feel about Justin Steele being out for pretty much probably the first half of the season? How do you guys feel about Michael Busch being an everyday player? He has earned more opportunities against lefties, according to his manager, Craig Counsell. How do you guys feel about Craig being excited about Shota? Are you excited for Shota? Do you think Shota is going to make a comeback this season and go show crazy at Wrigley? And again, like I said, just give me your thoughts on the Craig Counsell interview and what you thought of it. Again, I think he's a lot more of a straight shooter than Jed Hoyer. I listen to him a lot more. I like hearing his interviews a lot more because I believe him a lot more than what I hear from Jed Hoyer. And again, we'll just see what happens with that. But that's my time for today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss any news or action when it comes to the Chicago Cubs. Listen, I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Until tomorrow, appreciate you. Go Cubs, go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.